Good afternoon to one and all present here online, and thank you for joining us at this webinar about microcredit. It's a pleasure to walk you through this virtual conference introducing the RISE Challenge 2020. First of all, we'd like to thank the S&O Institute, which has supported us throughout the preparation of this Earth Week of the RISE, and especially of this conference. We would also like to thank the Yunus Center and its members for their availability and support. For those of you who don't know the concept, the RISE is a 2-day online event which will be held on next Tuesday and Wednesday, and which consists in collecting solidarity loans in French business schools and universities to support micro-entrepreneurs in developing and least developed countries. Basically, the goal of this conference is to give you further insight into this method and more generally into microfinance and social business so that you can give purpose to your loan. Therefore, we are proud to announce today that we'll receive the father of social business and microcredit, Professor Muhammad Yunus. Professor Yunus, also nicknamed the banker to the poor, was jointly with Grameen Bank awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2006 for creating economic and social development from below. Professor Yunus will be giving a 20-minute speech at 3 p.m. just after the first part with Arnaud Poissonnier, who is the founder of the social business Babyloan, which organizes the RISE Challenge. For your information, dear public, there will be a part dedicated to questions answered by Arnaud Poissonnier after the intervention of Professor Muhammad Yunus. Well, now, welcome, Arnaud Poissonnier. You graduated as a notary public and you started a career as a banker and asset manager dealing with high fortunes. You say so yourself, you were quite settled in that life, but you were pushed to the other side of the social ladder the day you discovered in Tajikistan, and thanks to the NGO Acted, what microcredit is and the situation of these populations excluded from the traditional banking system. This love at first sight, as you like to call it, brought you into a story with no return in the world of what you consider more than ever as the world of solidarity finance. Well, so that you can tell us about your social business, about the RISE, and about yourself, I will now give the floor to Julie. Thank you everyone for your attention, and have a good conference.
Thank you very much, Benjamin, and welcome Arnaud Poissonnier. It's a pleasure to welcome you today at this conference. So now it's your turn to explain us your project. Why did you launch your social business, Babyloan? And can you tell us the story behind the RISE?
Good. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for your invitation. I'm so proud to be there with all of you and including Professor Yunus. We well know Professor Yunus at Babyloan because he's sort of shareholders at Babyloan Social Business, as he's very close to Grameen Crédit Agricole Foundation, and Grameen Crédit Agricole Foundation invested in Babyloan. So Professor Yunus is somewhere is shareholders at Babyloan. So I'm very, very happy to be with him today and with all of you. The first point about Babyloan, but Benjamin said it. I was a banker taking care of very, very wealthy people in France, and one day I was banker during 12 years, and one day I had the opportunity to create or to participate on a partnership between the bank I was working for and the NGO Acted, the French NGO Acted. And at that time, I have the chance and the honor to go in Tajikistan. And when I arrived in Tajikistan, something incredible arrived, because the first time I met microcredit beneficiaries. It was Mrs. Karimov, and Mrs. Karimov, at the time I met her during maybe one hour, and during this hours, she never stopped to smile to me, and maybe every 3 minutes she said to me, "Oh, thank you for the microcredit you give to me." The microcredit we gave to her was a 350 euros. And with this very small microcredit, she was able to build some very small wood bed that she was able to sell on the market, and then to collect revenues and to make her family lives. And she was saying me every 3 minutes, thank you so much. And at that time I said, oh my God, never any wealth management client of mine never said me thank you. And with this woman, every 3 minutes she said me that. And this time I realized the powerful of the microcredit. This very small credit, which allowed people to be empowered and to launch a small business, to reimburse the credit, and then to live. And I loved that idea, and decided to stop, to quit the bank and to stop my banking career. And then I dedicated 1 year in 2006. I dedicated 1 year of my career to Acted. And when I was working for Acted, I read in a newspaper. You all know its magazine, international newspaper with a different article on everything. And one day I was looking at that magazine, and there was a small article about Kiva. Maybe you know Kiva. Kiva is the leading microcredit crowdfunding platform in the world, and they just began in 2005. And when I discovered this article about Kiva, I said, wow, Kiva is wonderful. I was working with Acted to help them to develop their microcredit activities. And I said, why not launching such crowdfunding platform in Europe and in France? And that was the beginning of Babyloan's story. And then we began to try on it, and we launched Babyloan in 2008. And after 12 years from now, we became the largest such platform in Europe, so a microcredit crowdfunding platform. And 2 years after launching Babyloan, I didn't anything about the rise, but 2 years after launching Babyloan, a few students coming from 8 different campuses came to us and said us, we love Babyloan. We would like, during one day, we would like to create and to launch a challenge between the 8 of us. And we would like to collect new loans, new philanthropic loans for you, Babyloan, during 1 day in all our 8 campuses. And we said, oh, that's nice, many thanks for that, and so on. And at the end of the day, they collected 6,000 euros just with a Google sheet, and just calling both together and tracking on the campus and stuff like that. And we was so happy about that initiative that we decided to meet all these campus together with us. And the second years, we decided to invest a lot on this operation. And then we decided to change the format, and then to launch the challenge on 2 days. The students decided to give a name to this operation, and they invented the RISE. So the revolution initiated by students for entrepreneurship. And it was 9 years ago. And the challenge rose every year, and the last 2 years, you were 40 different campus collecting during 2 days close to 400,000 euros. So it's a huge event. The RISE became one of the biggest solidarity challenge between all campuses in France, and we love that. And we are very happy to have HEC with us on the rise. And I strongly hope you will be able to challenge the winner of the former years, which has been for 5 years from now, which has been l'EDHEC. I'm sorry, but that's the case. And you've got a wonderful challenge to face, is to beat l'EDHEC. I hope it will be the case this year or another one. It's a very special edition this year because of COVID, for sure. As you know, we were not able to organize a presential event this year, so we will test with both of you a new way of collecting such solidarity loans between the students by video, by your computers, and but I think it can be also a success. We speak with many other campuses, and they are very motivated to make as much as former years. So we are very happy about that, because we are a little bit afraid of maybe to stop the challenge because of COVID, and it's not the case. And so it's so good to think about that. And so many thanks about that to all of you.
Thank you very much for this presentation, Arnaud Poissonnier. So now, could you explain how a loan exactly works? And to whom does my loan go when I lend some money on the platform The Rise, for instance, please?
Sure. As you know, on crowdfunding platform, you used to be as contributors, you used to find a project to be financed online, and then you invest on the project. That's the way is working KissKissBankBank, all the crowdfunding platform. At Babyloan, it's not possible, because we can't be directly connected with a small project in South countries, for instance, because project microcredit beneficiaries in South countries don't know we exist. They are not connected, so they are not able to candidate for a loan directly on the platform, for sure. That's the reason why we work a little bit different compared to the other crowdfunding platforms. We use at Babyloan to agree some microfinance institution, and we will discuss with the best, the nicest of them, with the Grameen Bank, for sure, with Professor Yunus. So we used to agree some microfinance institution on the platform, and after a long time of survey, of study, of agreement of the microfinance institution, we authorize the microfinance institution to raise a global amount of fund on Babyloan platform by posting many of its beneficiaries' project. And then when a lender, we call them Babylonians, when the Babylonians come on the platform, he used to make a loan beginning at 10 euros. He makes a loan not to the final project, but he makes a loan to the microfinance institution, and the microfinance institution has the obligation to dedicate my cash to the final project I choose on the platform. This is the way we used to work at Babyloan. And it's a very interesting way of working, because by this way, when you make a loan for a final project going through the microfinance institution, even if the project is in default and doesn't reimburse its microcredit, we don't care, because on the first step, you use to make a loan between you and the microfinance institution, and it is the microfinance institution which will reimburse you. It's a key point at Babyloan, and by this way, and because of the fact we used to very well choose the microfinance institution since the beginning of Babylon's story, we had only 5% of default, a rate of 5% of default, cumulated default, since the beginning of Babylon's story. 90% of the loan which has been made by the Babylonian has been reimbursed. There is a risk. The risk for the lender is the risk of default of the microfinance institution, and we are working in South country, very sensitive economies, and for instance, what is happening with COVID in different countries. we can have risks that a microfinance institution doesn't reimburse the loan. But globally speaking, it is working very well, and we have very high rate of reimbursement.
Thank you. So now concerning the current situation, to what extent has the sanitary crisis been a hurdle for Babyloan and the rise?
Yes, it's a very good question, because I was speaking to you about the risk which exists. We can't say there is no risk on Babyloan, and you have to think about that when you are participating to the rise. Don't think there is no risk, please. Thinking about the amount you invest on Babylon during the rise. And sometimes at Babylon we have to face some external risk. I mean, not because we choose a bad or not well managed microfinance institution, but because of external risk. We can have, for instance, you can have an earthquake. I remember, for instance, a few years ago, we were working in Haiti, and in Haiti there was a big earthquake, and at that time, microfinance institutions are not able to work anymore, and they are not for sure able to make people reimburse their microcredits. And at that time, as the cash doesn't come back to Babylonian, for sure they are not able to be reimbursed, and their loan is at risk. And we have many kind of issues we can face at Babylon. And for sure, at the time the COVID-19 appears, we were a little bit afraid of what could happen. At the beginning, nothing. When we began to, in last March, for instance, at the beginning of the pandemic in France, nothing happened in the South country. But a few months after, many countries has been fight by the pandemics, and that's the reason why we are working at Babylon with 15 different countries. And within that 15 countries, 5 of them have had to face trouble to reimburse Babylonian during the COVID crisis. 3 of them asked us to postpone the reimbursement of their loan. We did it. We signed some postponing reimbursement agreement. And 2 of them didn't, but were in trouble to reimburse the loans. But we had to face such issues during 3 to 5 months, and during the winter it has been over. And once again, since last September, we don't have to face any trouble with microfinance institution. So we were very afraid about that. But at the end of the story, all the microfinance institution we worked with managed that very good, and it's coming back very on a very good way. So it's okay, but we have to be very cautious about that. Every 2 weeks, we ask our partners if they are okay with their business, if they are not, if they don't have to face new trouble, new issues with COVID. But at that time, it's going well. But maybe we will see in the future. We don't know.
Thank you. So now we saw that microfinance institutes charge people the helped interest rate. So isn't a loan a trap that locks them into a debt?
That's a good question, and we could share about that during few hours. But no, I don't think so. You know, it depends of the way microfinance institution use and affects the loan. But Professor Yunus explained that very well. That when you are a microfinance institution, if your goal is only to deliver some microcredit without looking at the reason why the microcredit is used, for instance, I want to marry my daughter, I want to buy a new smartphone, and in that case, it's very dangerous. And we saw many countries where there were too many microfinance institutions which want to collect more and more new clients, and they didn't look anymore at the reason why they were delivering the microcredit. It's in that case, it's very dangerous. But at Babyloan, we try to audit and to find microfinance institutions which are having a very good objective in terms of affectation of the microcredit, and when you look at all the microfinance institution work, if you look at the fact of does the microfinance institution look at the social impact of the microcredit, it's a good way to work with people, and microcredit is still a very good empowerment tool, as we said. But we have to be careful. That's right. And then when you know that, and when you check the social goal of the microcredit, it's okay, and the interest rate is not an issue. You know, the average amount of interest rate in microcredit in the world is over 26%. And when we say that, people say, wow, that's awful. How can you say you are developing a social activity, explaining us you are delivering a 26 interest rate credit to people? Yes, it's a case. It's a social tool, because when you don't have microcredit, and that's the story of Muhammad Yunus, when you don't have microcredit in the slums, for instance, you let the place for what we call loan sharks. And I don't know if you know the average rate of loans delivered by loan sharks in South countries. Just imagine a few seconds in your mind what can be the average rate of loan sharks. Okay, 2, 3, 4. Are you ready in your mind? The average rate of loan sharks in slums is over 200%. So when you deliver microcredit at a rate of 26%, it is a very impacting microcredit, and it allowed people to develop and to launch their business and to have a better life.
Thank you. So now to come back to Babyloan and more generally to microfinance institutes, we have a question on the Q&A model. So how do you make profit or enough to pay your employees?
That's the good of the bad question of the day. Yes, it's a good question for sure. When I launched Babyloan, so 12 years ago, I didn't want to launch it as an NGO. Kiva, the American leader, has been launched as an NGO. I didn't want that because I wanted to launch a startup, personally speaking. And I didn't know I was launching one of the first social business in France at that time, but it was the case. And then launching a social business implied for us to find an economic model and to generate some revenues so that Babyloan could be sustainable for sure. We didn't succeed on that side of the story. And after 12 years of developing activities, Babyloan is still not sustainable. It's a real issue at Babyloan, to be frank. That's the reason why we decided 1 year ago to develop another product, a second product, to diversify our business, to become much more quickly sustainable, and to rise our social impact. And this new product we launched a few days ago is named Babyloan Impact. And on Babyloan Impact, investors, savers are able to invest on mesofinance projects, so bigger projects than on microfinance. On Babyloan, a loan without any interest, the average size of each project is over 700 euros. Whereas on Babyloan Impact, mesofinance, the saver, the investor will collect an interest rate, revenues on his loan, and the average amount of the project is between 10,000 euros and 50,000 euros. So then by this way, we have two different projects, and we hope, we don't know right now, but we hope to be able to accelerate because of Babylon Impact, because when you are speaking about impact investing, about savings, people used to invest much more amount. At Babylon, people used to invest only 80, 90 euros, whereas in Babylon Impact, we just launched, the average amount which is invested by people is more than 1,000 euros. So it's a good way for us to accelerate, to have much more social impact, and I hope to be sustainable in the next few years.
Okay, thank you. So another question from the Q&A. How do you assess the risk of a potential borrower? So what is the proportion of demand you have to reject?
We don't have to reject any demands considering the final project which are financed because of what I explained you before. We used to work with microfinance institution, and this is a microfinance institution which select some of its clients to make them financed on Babylon. That's the first point. The second point is, considering microfinance institution we could work with, we use sometimes to reject some, but not a lot, because before discussing with the microfinance institution, we used to audit on the available data on the market, and to see if the microfinance institution seems to be serious and well managed. And that's the reason why, after a very strong audit during 6 to 9 months, we use generally to accept 90-95% of the microfinance institution which want to work with us. There is a small point about the guarantee. I didn't spoke about that because about the rise, and you know the rise with occurred so this week, next Tuesday and Wednesday, you will be able to make many loans to different projects. And a few years ago, some students, including maybe you, I can't remember, maybe ESP'R, maybe EDEC and other association, said us, why can't we have any guarantee about the loan we are making to those projects in South countries? And we discussed a long time with many students and many associations, many participating association, and we decided not to guarantee all the loan made by students, but to create a small tool, a small product vehicle to begin to be able to guarantee the loan. It's not a complete guarantee, but it's a beginning of something, and we began that new product last year by the idea that every time a student makes a loan during the rise, in addition of its loan, he will pay a very small fees, a €1 fees every time he make a loan, and this euro is invested on a global fund. We say the guarantee fund, which will able to guarantee today and in the future a possible default of some microfinance institution on which many students could have invest. That's a beginning. Last year we collected 2,500 on this product. I think we will maybe double this amount this year, and years after years, this fund will maybe become a very interesting way of guarantee for the RISE participants as you are.
Thank you. So someone else on the Q&A asked, after granting a microcredit, do microfinance institutes keep track or advise their borrowers' business? Sorry.
It's a very interesting question, because you have many kind of microfinance institution, but the key point in the microcredit, and this is a big difference with the traditional bank. In the traditional bank, you ask for a credit, and the bank will want follow your business, you won't follow your life to be sure that everything is okay for you, that you are not ill, that your business is going well. And that's a key point with nice and well-managed microfinance institution. That's a key point for socially oriented microfinance institution, for the staff of the microfinance institution to follow their clients. And it's not like in France, for instance, when we go in such countries and when we go to visit our partners on the field, it's very, very interesting to see all the credit agents, as we say, people who are following microcredit beneficiaries, used to go in the slums sometimes every weeks to share with the family, to share with the microcredit beneficiaries, to be sure that all is okay in the life, all is okay in the business. And in addition of that, many microfinance institutions used to deliver some training, some advice how to manage your business. It's a key point in microcredit business, and I love that when we go on the field to discover all that what we say non-financial services to follow the client. It's very, very, very important. And if I can say you something before you share with Professor Yunus, but if you have the occasion in your life to go and visit a microcredit institution, please do it, because it's a wonderful experience. It's a wonderful way of discovering what is happening in that countries and with this fantastic tool that is the microcredit. And at Babylon, at the Rise, we decided to allow two of you to go on the field maybe in next August, because for the second year we decided to within the challenge to make you able to win a travel in Peru next August. And then we will give two places for two students to go in Peru next August. Two of them, one will be coming from the winner campus, the campus which will raise the biggest amount of cash land of Babylon, and a second one coming from the campus on which the participant rate, considering the total number of students on the campus, and it will be the most participative campus, which will have the second invitation for that very interesting travel. The idea for these two students will be to make video and to come back and explain all campus participating to the Rise what is happening on the field.
So we hope that someone of our campus will have the chance to.
I hope so. Sure.
So another question. Some critics of microcredit explain that a loan, even with this social model, will not get people out of extreme poverty, and that you need more than financial resources to be an entrepreneur and to generate significant benefit. What would you respond to these critics?
It's a very interesting question.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Just
yeah, sure.
To answer some questions of the public. We have some technical difficulties, so there is a little delay in Professor Muhammad Yunus. He's coming actually, so don't worry. It's going to take like a few minutes more, maybe 1 or 2 only. Thank you. Sorry.
Yes. Can you ask me the question again, please?
Yes.
Sorry.
Some critics of microcredit explain that a loan will not get people out of extreme poverty, and that they need more that financial resources to be an entrepreneur. So what would you respond to these critics?
It's a very interesting question. You know, the first book of Professor Yunus has been named in France A World Without Any Poverty, and it was within the book speaking about microcredit and maybe thinking about a very interesting tool which maybe could eradicate poverty in the world. It's not completely the case at the end of the story, because when we used to meet all those people in slums and in South countries, there was sometimes a deception. We have to recognize that, because what we thought that could happen, I mean, people becoming richer and richer and could be able to go out of slums, for instance, we don't see that so many times. And there is a question about that. Is microcredit making people able to go out poverty, out slums and stuff like that? It's not so powerful as we thought at the beginning, because microcredit is a very small credit dedicated to very small businesses. And there is not a lot of people which are able to create a big business beginning by microcredit. That's the reason why most of them are not able to go out of the slums. But what we see on the field, and every time I go in those countries, I see the same thing, is that people, when they access to microcredit and access to a small business, are able to improve their quality of life. When you ask all these women, because 80% of microcredit beneficiaries in the world are women, and when you ask these women, what can you do with these new revenues? The first thing they said is, by this way, we are able to give access to our kids to school. We are able to improve our health. Because we were not able to pay a doctor before. And you have many small points on which we can clearly see an improving of the way of life of microcredit beneficiaries. But you're right, not so many times people which are beginning much more richer and able to go out of slums.
Thank you. So what would you recommend to an HEC student interested in the topic of eradicating poverty? Is an experience in traditional finance useful?
It depends on each one. You know, I needed to work 12 years in the bank before saying to myself, I would like to do something else and maybe to work on the poverty. So it depends of people. There is one thing we all know, that if we don't all of us engage in the future of the world, we have a big wall in front of us, and we will shock this wall. So we all know that today you all have, because I am becoming old, but we all have to engage. And engaging for people as you are can be launching a social business, can be investing a part of your career in social impacting finance, can be Professor Yunus is coming, and hello, Professor.
Okay, hello. We had difficulty getting in, and I finally made it. Wow,
that's so good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you.
So we can all, but Professor Yunus will say that so better than me. But you have to engage, all of you, and instead of working in a traditional bank, why not working in impact investing finance? Why not working in a social business? Why not at the beginning of the story making a trip in slums, as I was saying to you before? And I will finish by that. At the Rise, we have a very nice partner, which name is Impulso. You know Impulso maybe, which is a very small NGO which is dedicated to organizing for group of students a travel on the field to discover during 5 to 6 months what is a business in a microfinance institution, what is a social business on the field, and to make the student discover what can be a career of social impact and impact investing. So I love what they are doing, and if you are interested by that, look at what they are doing in Impulso, and for sure try to be the best at the rise in the next few days, for sure.
Well, thank you very much, Arnaud Poissonnier, and sorry, Professor Yunus and the audience about the inconvenience with the technical difficulties, but this discussion was very enlightening. Well, now I give the floor to Bénédicte Febvre-Tavignot to welcome and introduce Professor Muhammad Yunus. Thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin, Julie, Lena. Hi, Arnaud. Nice to see you. A warm
Good to see you.
welcome,
Good to see
Professor. Nice to see you again.
Yes,
and,
indeed.
Welcome again. So you're nearly at home, you know, when you come to HEC. So you're virtually at home.
Yes, indeed. I'm at home right now. In any case, I'm at home in Bangladesh.
I mean, at
I'm
HEC,
at home in Paris too.
As you've been, part of the HEC community family for, I wanted to say, for more than 15 years.
Yes,
when you came to HEC 15 years exactly ago, in October 2005, and you gave a very impressive conference, and you became honoris causa, HEC honoris causa. And so it's been a long journey with you. And then there was the social business chair that you accepted to co-preside, and which you are still co-presiding. So you're a very important person for us. I want to thank you for helping us mobilize the academic community, helping us mobilize the students, and you've been lecturing nearly every year for more than 12 years in the social business certificate, and we hope to have you again at the next certificate in May 2021. So, and you've helped us also mobilize the business community, and I want to thank you so much for inspiring us and reminding us that yes, the objective of business is not necessarily only to make profit. The objective of business can be like social business, to address and provide answers to today's major challenges. And we have major challenges. And we know, poverty, inequalities we have, and that are also increasing with the current crisis, and also the environmental challenges. So business can be part of the solution, and social business is a new vision of the company that you share with us. You've been sharing with us for many years. So thank you very much to be with us. Invite you arrived, you intervened here like cherry on the cake of a very amazing event that the students, HEC students, ESP'R students organized during this Earth Week. And you're, kind of concluding the whole event, and also introducing this Rise Challenge together with Arnaud Poissonnier, and I'm very happy that we are part of this challenge. And I leave the floor to, I don't know whom, Julie, Lena, Benjamin, to interview Professor Yunus.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Benedicte. Good to see you. Thanks for your kind words. Nice to see you. Thank you.
Well, Professor Yunus, you can tell us a bit about your article about the COVID-19 and social business and microcredit, maybe.
Okay, I'll try. Just quickly, then open the floor for discussion. I think that would be useful. Right. Yeah, I'll be very brief. On the pandemic thing, I was saying that it has revealed many of the weaknesses of our system, all the things that we have done in the past. It made it very visual. And one of the things we see, millions and millions of people lost their jobs, lost their income, lost their food for themselves, lost their savings. Suddenly, they are forgotten, so completely detached from the economy itself. So you see how tenuous the life of the half the population of the entire world. These are the people who dropped from the way they were hanging from the with their nails to make a survival because the system doesn't work. If you look at the whole system as pandemic has revealed, I would say more than 60% of the population of the world is just around the poverty line. Some are below, some are just slightly above. That's about it. So if you put all the population of the entire world, country by country, and put it in a map, you'll see these are all bunched at the bottom. So this is what the nature of the economy is all about. If you go above this level, you go to the top, absolutely highest level, you'll see few people on the highest level. Just insignificant, you can't even see it looks like plain. Everything is population is in the along the poverty line, either slightly above or slightly below. That's about it, or below, whatever. If you look at the wealth, another map, where if you're in the income level, the country by country, if you see the wealth is all bunched up at the top. 99% of the wealth is concentrated at the top. So if you go in the middle, nothing. You come to the down, nothing, is blank. So, and that's how the distribution of the population and the distribution of the wealth is. Population is on one side, and the wealth is on the other side. That's what the pyramid. That's what you can see in the situation of pandemic. People lost their income on the bottom side, and people made money and continue to make money at the top. So this is the scenario of that. And I was saying that this is because we created wrong system, and one of the wrong system is the financial system. Financial system is one of the reasons why this kind of thing happens. It's a financial system is a vehicle of creating this wealth concentration. So this is where you can discuss issues that came out in the pandemic side. And I'm saying that you have all the banking for the top, where the 99% of the wealth is concentrated. All the banking, you see anything you see is there. If you come to the bottom line where 60% of the population are bunched up on the bottom, nothing. So this is the question. Shouldn't the banking system be available to those people? They say, no, it cannot be done. So this is a critical question. It cannot be done. It can be done only with the people with wealth. If you go to the wealthless people, it cannot be done, period. So what microcredit has done, among everything that you will be discussing, the basic factor is it showed it can be done. And now it is the challenge to the whole world. Why aren't you doing it? Why still you keep on doing the same old way? You have been hearing about microcredit at least for 40 years now, because this is what the Grameen Bank was born 40 years back. And you have applauded it, you have copied it, you have done everywhere, all over the world. And everybody said it's a good thing. Even you gave me a Nobel Peace Prize for that. But the banking system has not changed. Why? If you think it's so good, everybody loves it, and it's a banking, you don't say this is a charity. It's a bank. Grameen Bank is a bank, full bank. It's not, it doesn't take any, it never took any donations or anything for its work. It's all self-sustained. It makes profit. Profit goes back to the borrowers because they are the shareholders of the bank. So if it can work as a bank, why don't you do that? That's the question that we'll be raising. So the microcredit is not about the controversy on other things, whether it does it. Why shouldn't you do banking with the poor people? Why should you leave it to the loan sharks so that they can suck them up and you don't do the banking stuff? So this is the challenge that we have to meet. And we are doing it in Bangladesh. They say, well, poor countries is possible, but the rich countries is not possible. So we do it in the United States. We have a Grameen America. You go to the Google and search for Grameen America, you'll get all the information. It's been doing for 11 years now. It started very small in Jackson Heights in New York. Now it's all over the United States. We are working in 14 cities, all the big cities in California, San Francisco, New York, Boston, Houston, and all this. So there are 14, 15 cities right now with 25 branches. We have 140,000 borrowers, very, very low income borrowers, struggling with their life, mostly immigrants. And our loan size for the Grameen America is under $1,000. We have given them more, today in 11 years, we have given them more than $12 billion in total, starting from $600, $700, and so on, gradually moving up. Today, we have given over $12 billion with perfect repayment, near 100%, branch by branch. There are 25 branches. Every branch has recorded 99.5%, 95.6%, and so on. So it's a very close to 100% repayment, all throughout. No collateral, nothing, just exactly like the way we do it in Bangladesh. And important thing is, not only we do that, every branch comes to financial sustainability, meaning that all the cost borne by the branch must be covered by the work that you do with the branch, with the borrowers of the bank. That's it. Always they were told it can be possible in poor countries because the salary of the staff is so low. So you can do that, you can pay, and you can become sustainable. But in rich countries, salary is so high, you cannot cover it. Here is an example, it goes on every day. So you can check out. Within 3 years, 3 to 4 years, every branch comes to break-even point. Now today, entire Grameen is just, as a whole, is about just about sustainable, just slightly, because many of the branches are new branches, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. So if all of the branches are 3 years and above, then the whole Grameen America will be sustainable. So again, the question is if it is sustainable, if it helps the poor people, and all these 140,000 are women, every one of them, 100% women. And these are mostly immigrant women, mostly Latino women, can't even speak English, don't know anything about, they don't have any documents to show that they exist in the United States, undocumented people, which Trump wanted to throw them away from the country. It was a hard time to keep them so that we can continue with our work. Luckily, Trump finally got out of it. So they stayed and we continued. So they don't have any documents, of the identity documents, and still we give them loan without any document for ourselves, and the repayment is so high and cover all the costs. If all the demonstration is, again, the question is, why don't the banking system do it? Why don't we create a bank? So I said, why don't we create a separate bank? Because these banks will not be interested in this, because these banks are oriented completely differently. Their whole banking idea is different. Because Grameen Bank worked, because what we did, we didn't know anything about banking. So what we did, we look at the existing banks, how they do it, and whatever they do, we do the opposite. They go to the rich, we go to the poor. They go to men, we go to women. They ask for collateral, we say, forget about collateral. They want to do it in the city, we say, we go in the village. So this is a completely reversal. The way they do, we do the reverse part of it. And it worked. It not only worked in Bangladesh, all over the world, it works right now. So this is the essence of what the microcredit is all about. You see, if you have entrepreneurship, if you want to do things on your own way, then you need financing. And poor people, all those people who lost their livelihood during the pandemic, they are the people struggling with their own efforts. They are the people with the micro entrepreneurs. But the micro entrepreneurs any entrepreneur needs financing. Without finance, entrepreneurship doesn't work. So where this financing came from the loan shark. As a result, they remain close to the poverty line because they cannot get up. If you remove the loan shark, replaced by social business microfinance banks, then they start moving up, because ours is Grameen Bank is a social business. We don't want to make money. Grameen America is a social business. We don't want to make money. That's a critical factor. Not only it can be done, it should be done in a social business way, meaning that you don't want to make money. If you want to make money, then you become loan shark. It's so easy to suck money out of the poor people because they are so helpless. So they will give you anything you want. So you have to resist that. You have to become a social business microfinance bank. So we are encouraging everybody to create a new law to create social business microfinance bank. And the pandemic has shown fantastic thing. And last one, I will say, now it's working even in the pandemic situation. All businesses closed down, but the microcredit program continues. because we are helpful to the people. We are not saying that now giving the money now. We give them more money so that they can work and they do that, continue to do it. Even in the pandemic situation where lockdown in the USA is going on, it's still microfinance in the Grameen America is working in the United States. So you have examples from the extreme, from both extremes, on the richest country and one of the poorer country in the world. That's it. So I'll stop here and let you ask questions.
Thank you very much, Professor Yunus. It was very interesting, and I think it's very motivating, especially for us students. Your speech explained that especially in this post-corona reconstruction, it highlighted that there was a clear problem of sustainability. So how do you think we should have a reconstruction through social business who could improve our sustainability, and not only on the social part, but also on the environmental part?
Yeah, and again, on the pandemic side, I raised the question and I want to share it with you now. I said there's a tremendous effort, initiative from business side, from the government side, to quickly go back to the pre-pandemic economic situation, so that the economy start moving. There's a tremendous effort. So in order to do that, they are putting up big baggages of money called bailout packages, startup money, and so on. So they have a huge money waiting with the government. Some governments have billions of dollars accumulated for that, waiting to pour in so that the economy can move out. And some of the countries have trillions of dollars waiting, so to pour in so that you can go back. I said, why do you want to go back? I said, that world was a terrible world. We don't want to go back, because that world is about to end. That world made human being as the most endangered species in the planet. Today, human being is the most endangered species because our life is done, finished. Your generation may have a life, but next generation probably will not have any life at all. That's why the young children are walking, marching on the street, call them Fridays for Future, accusing their parents that you are irresponsible. You stole our future. See, the parents are stealing their children's future because the children have no future, because our world is going to end very soon. How many years? Maybe 30 years, maybe 40 years, it's finished. Human beings cannot stay there. Why? Global warming. Who created the global warming? Our economy created the global warming. The way we function, the whole thing is, the basic thing is the way we behave, the way we do it, because it is self-created problem. Our economy is a self-destructive economy. We are destroying ourselves in a very fast mode. So I don't want to go back to that position where we start again to finish the job. The last station is coming, our journey will be over. So the global warming is taking us there. That was a terrible world. We don't want to go back. And that world is also a world of wealth concentration, which I was explaining. 99% of the wealth is in the top. Only 1% is distributed for the rest. What kind of economy is that? Why should we have that economy? Why don't we reverse that economy? That the wealth would be belonging to the people. Where the people are, wealth should be there. If the people at the bottom, wealth should be coming to the bottom so that they can go up. And we have to find a way to do that. This existing way of doing things is killing us. The third one is artificial intelligence. That's going to kill us too. What is artificial intelligence is doing? Artificial intelligence will throw us out from everything, from every job, every activity that we have, because machine will do better job than human being. So we have no place to go. We become surplus on this planet. We are absolutely nothing to be done in this planet. So I said, what kind of world we are creating for us? So what I'm saying, we go, instead of going back to where we have been, we go the opposite, so that there is no global warming, there is no wealth concentration, there is no artificial intelligence taking away our jobs and so on. So I talk about 3 zeros. I said, we want to build a world of 3 zeros. 0 net carbon emission, so that there is no global warming anymore. 0 net carbon emission, we can do that, provided we abandon the things we have been doing now. You cannot carry these things and achieve this one. We have to abandon those things. We have to abandon our old thinking and old institutions like banking and so on. And it will be a world of 0 wealth concentration. Wealth will not be concentrated. Why? We'll redesign the banking system upside down. redesign it completely. Then it will be possible. Wealth concentration, wealth instead of going up, it should come down. And zero unemployment. Artificial intelligence is guaranteeing 100% unemployment because nobody has any job anymore with the artificial intelligence. It's very soon. It's not far, far away. It's very soon. And then we create a third zero, zero unemployment, undo everything that they have done. So that's the world we want to create. This is the direction we have to move. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Yunus, for this very enlightening answer. So now we have a more specific question about the group lending model of microcredit of Grameen Bank. So basically, microlending clubs are viewed as a way to empower women. To what extent is membership in a microcredit program linked with greater empowerment for them?
Well, first of all, if you consider the status of women in Bangladesh, probably will figure that out. 40 years back, when Grameen started, women were afraid to touch money because they never had any experience of touching money. When we said we will give you money to start something, they said, no, not give it to me. I never touched money in my life. It scares me. Because she has no position in her family. Her family has nothing to do with her. She is not involved in money and so on. It's husband's job. They will say, give the money to husband, not to us. So that's the beginning. And they are nobody in the club. And they are not visible in the society. If you come to Bangladesh 40 years back, you walk around in the village, everywhere, women are not visible because they're hiding behind the doors, because that's the system, that's the culture, that's the religion, everything. Today you come, visit Bangladesh, they're everywhere. They will grab you, they'll pull you to go to their house to see, to show you what they are doing, what their children are doing, and so on and so forth. So this is a thing that has happened to the excess of the finance and so on. Today, they own Grameen Bank. It's not a bank which just lends the money. The bank itself is owned by the borrowers. So they are very important people. They own the largest bank in the country. So they are not somebody that you ignore. You hear about lending money. We always talk about lending money. Yes, that's true. We lend money, billions of dollars every year to the same people, and gradually they move up. In the meantime, we also have the savings program right from the beginning, 40 years back. Tiny penny, you save penny. That's the beginning. Today, the total savings of the bank, Grameen Bank, is much bigger than the total loan that it gives. Imagine that. Those who were used to taking $10 loan, $15 loan, that's how their life began. Today, taking $5,000 loan, $6,000 loan, and still the money they have in the bank, personally, is larger than what the loan that she has taken. So if you look at the woman, it's not just a borrower, she's also a deposit maker. When our staff tells, oh, these are our borrowers and so on, I said, don't call them borrowers, because the table is turned now. You are the borrower, bank is the borrower, because she gave you more money than you gave her. So the complete scenario. So she feels very comfortable. Even in the pandemic situation, she has the largest amount of savings in all the families. So that's the empowerment. If you have the money, you are empowered. And then you own the bank. That's another empowerment. Then you can access to finance as you grow, and you send your children to school and everything else which comes with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have one more question on rate ceilings, because microfinance institutes on rate ceilings, because microfinance institutes, they charge people they help rates that are substantially higher, between 20 and 50% per year, than the rate change on normal bank loans. So do you think that imposing rate ceilings could be an answer to that issue, or otherwise, what could policymakers do to decrease the microfinance institutes' rates?
Yeah, I don't think policymakers should come and fix the rate. Then again, if they cannot afford to do that, if they cannot be sustainable, then it's all done, finished. I would say that let them compete with each other, see how to reduce that interest rate and so on. We charge always, in the beginning, we charged 10%, then 16%, then it raised to 20% in Grameen Bank. When we are charging 20%, commercial bank interest rate was 15%. So this is not very far. See, you look at one, you don't look at the other. So when Grameen Bank is charging 20%, commercial bank was charging for their loans to the big businesses and so on is 15%. So it's only 5% difference between them and us. And remember, commercial bank interest is compounded so that interest become principal at the end of the year. So it becomes much bigger than 15%. Grameen Bank interest rate always is a simple interest rate. It never got involved with the compounding. So the gap between the two is not that much. Then we come to you, you don't come to us. We serve you at your house, at your place. You don't have to take any step. And we provide many other services. We give healthcare services and many other services on top of it. And we take care of your savings and so on, and we give you a good interest rate on savings. Nobody talks about the interest rate on savings. Grameen Bank interest rate on savings is higher than the commercial bank interest rate. See? So you have to look at the whole thing. It's not just one thing and then run with that. But the fact is, first you see, and engage them to lend the money, whatever interest rate, not loan shark interest rate. That's why I'm saying we should be creating social business microfinance bank. Social business, meaning that owner doesn't have an interest in making money. That's the important thing, not the interest rate. Interest rate is to cover the cost, that's all. Because if you go to the loan shark, when we are starting Grameen Bank, interest rate used to be 10% per day. Imagine in loan interest is 10% per day. How much the total annual interest rate is. And if you're very generous loan shark, it would be 10% per week, nothing less than that. So that's the regime that we started with. Today, that loan sharking almost disappeared. So that's the important thing.
Thank you, Professor Yunus. Mr. Arnaud Poissonnier, would you like to ask a last question, maybe? Oh, be careful, your mic is not open.
Good.
You're the last question.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much, Professor Yunus. Just to have your feeling about the future of the world. You know, there is a very famous French author, which is Michel Houellebecq, who said a few months ago that the world of tomorrow will be the former world in worse. And we all know that facing the global warming, we don't have a lot of time because maybe in 5 to 10 years it will be too late. In your mind, what could we do? What can be done to go from this top-down world to bottom-up world in a so much time we have in front of us? Because after it will be too late. Do we have to launch a revolution? What is your feeling?
No. Revolution will not do anything. This is this is a revolution of mind, not revolution in the fight in the street. Revolution of mind. You have to change everything that you are taught. We are taught wrongly. Whatever we have done, we have to admit it was absolutely wrong. We created a wrong world. We are celebrating. You see what is happening right now? Our house is burning. The global house is burning, and we see that house. But inside the house, we are having a big party, enjoying ourselves, saying that, oh, there's a growth going on, prosperity is coming, and so on. We look at the technology, look at the artificial intelligence, but the house is burning. Because we are addicted. That's addiction is the important thing to say, addicted. Addicted to the way we do things. We have to overcome that addiction. This is one part. Second part I would like to say, who created all this problem? We know that, it's not unknown. Who created the fossil fuel, who creates the global warming? We know 80% of the global warming is coming from fossil fuel. You can debate whether it's 80%, 70%, 90%, but 80% or so is coming from the fossil fuel. So if you want to stop this burning, you have to stop the fossil fuel. It's very simple, we know that. But like addicted person, we don't want to do that. If you're addicted to something, you want more of it. You know that it's kill you, but still you want to do that. You have to wake up. You cannot have both. You cannot have stopped the global warming at the same time keep on encouraging the fossil fuel. That cannot be done. So we know what to do. So let's do it. Stop fossil fuel. We know what is happening. Stop the plastic. We know what is to do. So we know what the sources are, and we can address that. All we have to do, not the government. You don't go to the government demonstrate to stop it. I do it, you do it. Have I stopped fossil fuel in my life? I have not. Have you stopped fossil fuel in your life? You have not. Why? If I stop it, if you stop it, it will be stopped. Fossil fuel will be nothing. Nobody will care for fossil fuel anymore because nobody is wanting the fossil fuel. So this is it. We have to change ourselves. It's not about the revolution. It's the revolution of ourselves, that we don't want to put fuel on the fire. It's already in the burning. It is on the fire. So we don't want to do that. So that's it. And then we reverse the whole banking system, reverse the whole business. Then we create social businesses to stop the environmental degradation, stop the wealth concentration and all that. So these are all possible, but we don't pay attention to it because we are having the party, and the party cannot go on within a burning house. That we have to do. Our time is gone. We are the endangered species. We have to agree that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that really enlightening answer. Maybe Bénédicte Favre-Tavignot, would you like to conclude Mr. Yunus' intervention?
Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you.
What I just like to say very shortly is that, yes, you've transformed the impossible into possible. And I think today we all need to transform something that seems impossible into something possible again. So let's get inspired by you, and each of us become actor of these, new possibilities and new doors that we all need to open. And it's getting urgent. And as you say, I like this notion of a revolution of mind. And it's what we need to lead together, all together with the students and with you and with Arnaud and with you, Professor. And there is lots of things to do again. So thank you so much for inspiring us. And you have so much energy. I think we all need your energy to make things change.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much again. So good to see you, and so good to see your students.
So good to see you too.
Thank you.
And
sorry, go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye,
okay,
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night from Bangladesh. Bye-bye.
Good,
We'll see you.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much
sometime.
again.
Thank you. See you again. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you again. Well, we are a little late, but we can actually move on to the last part of the conference. If you have any question, don't hesitate to ask them to Arnaud Poissonnier on the Q&A module about maybe the rise or about the topics that Mr. Yunus talked about. And you can actually vote for the question that you want us to ask. Maybe, I don't know, Julie, do you have a question for Mr. Poissonnier?
Thank you, Benjamin. So after this very enlightening speech of Professor Yunus about microcredit, how do you see the rise and Babylon in the ambition to rebuild the world after the coronavirus crisis? Do you have any projects for the future?
Yes, sure. What would say the Professor Yunus is very inspiring for sure, as usual. But for us, considering what we are doing, we have to go in the future to become strongest and strongest years after years. And at the rise, for instance, I think we are for 2 years from now, there are 40 campus participating to the rise. We can go ahead much more better, much more higher than we did in the last few years. And I think it could be very interesting to share and to discuss both together, including HEC students, to the question that how to build a new rise that could be I don't know, 5 times, maybe 10 times more impacting, And then why not spreading the rise all over Europe? Why not prospecting 200 or 300 different campus so that we could be much more impacting that we did the last years? And I think it could be very interesting. I'm ready to discuss about that. I'm ready to create a working group to think about that, to think of how to become 10 times bigger as we are today for the rise in the next few. And then it could be still a very tiny thing, but it could be a good way to much more impact on the world. I just would, I just to follow on what Professor Yunus said, something very strong happened in my life 15 years ago, before I decided to launch Babyloan and to go out of the banking industry. At that time, I read a book, which has been the most impacting book I ever read in my life. And this book was written by the father of a space program in France, which has been worked by Professor Jacques Blamont. I don't know if you know Professor Jacques Blamont. Jacques Blamont just left. He died a few weeks ago during the first part of the COVID-19. And Jacques Blamont wrote a very interesting book in 2004. The title of his book is Introduction of the Most Dangerous Future, Introduction au siècle des menaces. And a part of this book is a prospective explanation of the future of the world. It was written in 2004. And in his book, he said that the humanity will have to face very difficult situation and very strong issues to in its future. It was in 2004, much more before we began to speak about collapsology, about the strong issues we have to face today because of the global warming. And at that time, Professor Blamont wrote, in the next 50 years, we won't be 9 billion people on the planet. We will be 15 billion people on the planet. And when we say that, you can say, no, it's not true, because every demograph said that it's not the case. We will be between 9 and 10 billion people in the next 30 to 40 years. But Blamont said 15 years ago that that's not true, because if you look at the average growth of revenues per people in the world compared to the growth of the number of people living in the planet, in terms of equivalent of consumer, we have to be ready to manage a planet on which, in terms of equivalent consumer, we will be 15 billion. And at the first time I went in the slums in South countries, when I launched Babyloan, a few years after I read Introduction au siècle des menaces of Jacques Blamont, I saw that. When you go in South countries, they don't care about moving for a better world. They want to improve their revenue. And when they have much more revenue, what they think about? They think about having access to our mode of consumption. It's a big issue, because if we are, in terms of consumer, if we are in the next few years 15 billion, the planet is not able to face that, and we are not reversing the model as Professor Yunus hopes so. We have to all think about that. Since 15 years, I am thinking every week about that 2 pages of these books. We have to face very difficult time in the future if we don't change, as Professor Yunus say, if we don't change the model. and you have to be invested about this new model. We will be done by you, not by us, not by Professor Yunus, by you. And I engaged you to be so much investing in the future of the planet, because if not, we will have to face very, very strong trouble.
Thank you very much, Arnaud. I think we have one last question regarding the challenge to rise.
Good.
So last year, the challenge raised 400 euros to Babyloan, which is 400,000 euros, which is a great number. But we would like to know to what extent this challenge increased and helped the activity of Babyloan, or do you think that this number should be substantially higher?
It's a question of personal and financial means, because for 3 years from now, we have the impression that we don't succeed in increasing the amount of cash we are able to collect through the different campuses which participate. And the reason why is that for many years, we used to work on the RISE challenge. We used to rise within Babylon with two interns working on that project. I think we have, for the next few years, we have to find different things to go higher, to increase our capacity, our collecting capacity. The first thing is to find some financial sponsors. We didn't succeed on that. I don't know why, but we didn't succeed on that during the last years. We have to find maybe 1, 2, 3 big financial sponsors, like a bank, I don't know, insurance companies, and whatever we want, so that we could hire much more people within Babylon dedicated to the RISE. And if we succeed in doing that, I think we can strongly increase the potential of the RISE. We are thinking for the next year, to be frank, and we decided nothing at that time, but we are thinking about maybe not organizing any RISE in 2021, just to take a little time and maybe to organize the next one at the beginning of 2022, so that we can take the time to organize the RISE at spring, because it's better for you, for the campus and the organization of new student association participating to the RISE, and having 1 year, one complete year to find a sponsor and to staff more strongly the RISE to be better and to increase. We didn't decide anything, and we will discuss and share about that this way of doing with all of you for sure, because we never decide anything by alone on the RISE, but maybe it could be a good way to improve.
Okay, well, thank you. To conclude, maybe would you like something? Would you like to add something to conclude this conference? Maybe you could tell us a bit about your new book.
If you want, yes, my new book is not a very optimistic one. I'm sorry, but I was speaking to you about collapsology, and 5 years from now, I have an idea. One day, I have an idea of a possible story for a film and a thriller. And three years from now, I decided to write it, and I began to write this book, which name is Adopt. So speaking about adoption, and I just finished it, and I began a few weeks ago to sell the book. It's a book speaking about adoption, about the future of the world. And sorry, it's not a very, very optimistic vision coming from me. And speaking about a new pandemic. And during 3 years, I was writing a pandemic thriller, without knowing that a real pandemic will arrive. And at the beginning of the COVID, it was very strange, because when I was looking at BFM, I was looking at all I wrote in the book was going through BFM because I was speaking about a pandemic in my book, and I decided during the time we were closed at home to rewrite the book so that to make it stick with the actuality of COVID. And firstly, and secondly, I decided to transform the book as a solidarity book, and since that time, every time someone buy this Collapso pandemic thriller, €2 are given to Hôpital Necker for kids, because many chapters of the book are happening in Necker, because the story is speaking about young kids who are dying in 2025 from a new pandemics, but you can read it if you want. But that's not the essential today. The essential today is to be to be with you, to share with you, and I hope once again, and I will begin by the same sentences that I begin my discussion. I hope you will be very, very strong. You will be all mobilized with the next the rise to beat headache, and they are not listening about what I'm saying right now. But whatever, I'm so happy you are with us. I'm so happy you participate in New Year. So many thanks for that. I love your energy during these 2 days, and it's wonderful. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Congratulations for this project, for your book, and yeah. Well, dear audience, if I can speak to you now, thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoyed this moment as much as we did, and above all, as Arnaud just said, I hope it convinced you to all spend just 5 minutes in front of your computer on Tuesday or Wednesday, so in 2 or 3 days only, to go and lend to micro entrepreneurs on the other side of the world during the rise. You'll find all the information you need in our mails, on the Facebook event, and you'll see that it's really simple. You'll be able to access the online platform and lend some money. You can choose the amount. It's only €10 minimum. You can choose the project, etc. And then, well, you'll be repaid on a monthly basis. So just two final information. First, the Carrefour Association will lend twice the amount lended by HEC students and associations on the first day. So if you want to lend a bit of your money, please do it on Tuesday. And well, second thing, to add some data a little bit, HEC finished 4th last year by lending 40,000 euros. So
which is a huge amount. Which is already a huge amount. So congratulations.
We are counting on you to get us on the podium. Maybe not beat Ledec, because it's hard actually, but to get us on the podium this year. Thank you everyone for your attention. Thank you again, Arnaud Poissonnier, and well, have a good Sunday, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you.